Hey, my friend, welcome back to the Storage Wins podcast. I am your host, Alex Pardo. And in today's episode, if you are somebody that has wanted to get into self-storage, but has told yourself, I don't have the time, then this episode is for you. If that voice has ever been in your head, or maybe something that you've even said out loud to somebody, then this episode is going to completely flip that belief upside down. I'm going to challenge you. I'm going to give you a clear, focused roadmap so that you can buy your first or your next storage facility in just 8 to 10 hours a week. So even if you're juggling a very demanding job and you're a W-2 warrior, you have a family, you have kids, you're running another business, you got a side hustle. Look, let's be real. Most people aren't short on time. They're short on clarity and a proven plan that works part-time. So today I'm gonna hand that all to you on a silver platter. I'm gonna challenge this limiting belief. Hey, I don't have time. Let me just foreshadow. It's not about the time. We all have 24 hours in a day, but hang with me until the end of this episode because it's going to have a big impact on you if you've ever thought or said, hey, I don't have time. Now, let me address why the quote unquote no time objection is a complete myth. Let's start by calling it out for what it is. Like saying I don't have time, if you've ever said that, not just about wanting to get into storage, but really anything. I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have time to make that call. It's really just another way of saying, hey, I'm not clear on what to do with the time that I do have. All right, I'm gonna repeat that. It's another way of saying I'm not clear on what to do with the time I do have, i.e. prioritizing the things that I'm supposed to be doing, responsibilities, etc. Listen, I have coached many people through this process. I've been a real estate coach. I've coached entrepreneurs since 2012, and over the last couple of years now coaching storage investors. And many of them have had full-time jobs, some very, very demanding careers. Many were raising kids, married, coaching little league, running their own companies, side hustles, you name it. You want to know what the common thread is? They followed a simple, repeatable process and carved out focused time with intention. This is all about being very intentional and being thoughtful and purposeful with the time that you have. So many times it's not about the quantity of time we have, but it's about what is being the quality of time that the quality of the task that you're spending on the time that you have. All right. Now, many of these people that I'm referring to that have succeeded wildly didn't need 40 hours a week. All right. When it comes to storage, I oftentimes get the question, hey, how much time do I need to devote to this? Here's the truth. As with anything, the more time you put into something, provided that you're spending that time on the revenue generating activities. I always say it's the small hinge that moves the big door. So it isn't about the quantity of time you're spending, but the quality of the tasks and with the time that you have. So I always tell people, generally speaking, 8 to 10 hours a week, if you are consistent, plugged into our game plan, is sufficient to get you your first storage deal in the next 6, 9, 12 months. And this is one of many reasons I love storage. It didn't even make my top 10. Number one, you don't need to be managing tenants and toilets. Okay. Number two, you do not need to be out inspecting properties, crazy maintenance, repairs. Storage is pretty simple. We rent space. We're talking about concrete walls, a metal door. It's essentially a metal box. Okay. You can build your buyers list. You can talk to owners. You can underwrite deals and make offers from your laptop, from your phone, after the kids go to bed, before they wake up, during your lunch break. There are literally no excuses. And if you really do not have any time whatsoever, you can have virtual assistants do this. I have several people within the Storage Wins community that have hired virtual assistants that are on a daily basis building their top 100 lists and beyond, are having meaningful conversations with storage owners, collecting the necessary information, qualifying them, and then scheduling an appointment for my coaching client to go and have a conversation and ultimately make an offer. So the business is front loaded with effort. Okay, this is not a get rich quick scheme. Like anything, it requires time, energy, sacrifice, and I can tell you it is worth it. So the business is front loaded with the effort, but once you land a deal, okay, and you build the right small team around you and you plug into our roadmap, our process, your time commitment doesn't balloon. It actually shrinks. I have, in fact, Mario, who just recently closed on his first storage deal, he spent a lot of his time and energy in the front end finding the deal. And in the first 30 to 60 days, when you're implementing your systems, you're adding marketing, automation, etc., you're spending more time. But once you get through that initial phase and once you start to stabilize the facility, increase the occupancy and all that, your time commitment goes down. It's a very semi-passive business. So let's talk about specifically what you would be spending your 8 to 10 hours a week on. Okay, so here's the blueprint. And I want to get into something I call the L.M.A.O method. And L.M.A.O is not the acronym that you're thinking. It's a different, this is an actual acronym that's going to put, not just give you the belly laughs, but it's going to put money in your bank account. So let's get practical here. This is the Storage Wins part-time blueprint, and it's built on something I call the L.M.A.O method. So L is for list building. Okay, when you come into our community initially, you want to focus on adding a minimum of 25 storage owners and facilities to your list every single day, so that by the end of that first week, you've already built your top 100. We have several that have leveraged a virtual assistant to do this. You can do it if you don't have the $5 to $10 an hour to hire a virtual assistant, or you can leverage a virtual assistant. In fact, we have training within our community that you can literally hand to a virtual assistant so that they can build your list on a daily basis going forward. So that's the L. M, meaningful conversations. You need to be having meaningful conversations with storage owners, brokers, lenders, capital partners, private money lenders. You need to have those meaningful conversations every single day to build momentum. So one of the things I always challenge people with is minimum 3 to 5 meaningful conversations every single day. Whenever people come to me and say, hey, I don't feel like I'm making progress, or I'm stuck, or when are the results going to come? I always ask them, show me your KPIs, the key performance indicators, for the last 60, 90 days. How many properties are on your storage prospect list? How many meaningful conversations had? And then I'll get to the A and the O. But most of the time, 99% of the time that they feel like they're not gaining progress and momentum, it's because there's no activity in the important key performance indicators, right? When we think about storage, the L.M.A.O is like phase 1. Phase 2 then is deal structure, funding the deal, due diligence, all the way through closing. And then phase 3 is now managing, owning, operating for cash flow to increase the value of the business. So in phase 1, it all boils down to building your list, having meaningful conversations. The A, analyzing deals. I always challenge people, underwrite and analyze 1 to 2 deals every single day to build the reps. And you're training your eye to understand what is a deal, what is not a deal. If it's not a deal, what would make it a deal? So you're not going to get better just by staring at spreadsheets and offering memorandums from Crexi and LoopNet. You're going to get better by sharpening the quote unquote pencil, right? And plugging the numbers into the spreadsheet and using our quick deal analyzer, using the quick offer calculator. Which, by the way, if you want access to our quick offer calculator, it's my gift to you. Head over to storagewins.com/quick offer calculator, but just make sure to put the dashes or the hyphens in between the words. Quick dash offer dash calculator. There should be a link in below or in the show notes if for whatever reason that you didn't grab that. So you want to be analyzing deals, 1 to 2 deals every single day. You do that. 30 days from now, you are going to feel so much more confident when it comes to analyzing deals. And by the way, sometimes this is a place where people really get stuck. With our quick back of the napkin formula analysis, within 1 to 2 minutes, you can determine, hey, this makes sense to go deeper into, or hey, it doesn't. And pass, let's move on to the next one, or here's what would potentially make this a deal, etc. Now the O in the L.M.A.O method and formula is offers. You cannot get, if this was a baseball analogy, you can't get on base sitting in the stands or in the dugout. Impossible, All right. I suppose the only way is a pinch runner, right? But in storage, we don't have pinch runners. So follow my analogy. Otherwise, it's going to come crumbling down like a house of cards. In order to get on base, in order to hit the home run, you got to step up to the plate. And it's not just stepping up to the plate, it's swinging the bat. That is what is going to potentially get you on base or potentially have you hit the home run, so to speak. You have to make offers. So minimum 1 offer a week, if not 1 to 3 offers per week. In fact, I would go so far, and I would debate this with many people. Anytime you speak to a storage owner, I would argue they should receive an offer. Anytime you speak to a storage owner, imagine if every time you spoke to a storage owner, you could send them a simple 1 or 2 page letter of intent, which, by the way, is just one of the documents we provide, all the tools and resources and things of that within our Storage Wins community. But imagine if every time you had a conversation, you sent the letter of intent. You're giving yourself more at-bats, if we're going to stick with that baseball analogy. It's more opportunities. And when you put something in writing, it carries more weight and momentum than if it's just a verbal offer. Now, I'm not opposed to making ballpark ranges of a verbal offer just to feel the seller out and see if we're even in the ballpark. But I always do like to put it on paper, because offers are how you learn and how you're going to win. Now, that's the daily engine. Let me give you what a potential week could look like for you following this process. So let's take a simple Monday through Saturday type approach, okay? Sunday's off, Sunday's a rest day, just like God prescribed. Relax, unplug on Sunday. But let me show you what Monday would look like. Monday is all about building your pipeline. It's about having those meaningful conversations, at least 3 to 5, if not more, with storage owners, with brokers, potential private lenders, equity partners, etc. In fact, if you're not plugged into the Storage Wins Facebook group, it's a private group, it's free, but you have an invite. There should be a link in the show notes where you can go ahead and request to join the Storage Wins Facebook group. There, you can have those meaningful conversations with potential lenders, partners, storage operators, etc. Analyzing 1 to 2 deals a day, right? That's your Monday. You want to at least analyze a couple deals a day or a couple deals that day. And then you want to connect with people from the Storage Wins community. These are people that are actively doing the business, are going to support you, are going to hold you accountable, answer your questions, be there for you. That's Monday. Tuesday, follow up with sellers and potential capital partners, potential lenders, brokers that you've connected with from maybe the previous week. Analyze more deals, right? Every single day, we want to have meaningful conversations. We want to analyze deals. We want to make offers, right? Every single day, we're doing the first 2. Every week, we're sending at least 1, if not more, offers. You're going to have you or your virtual assistant is going to continue building your list. Imagine if you could add 20 to 25 storage facilities to your list every single day. Think about how many facilities you'd have to market to. And then you want to start to craft and create your letter of intent. At this point, you would have already spoken to at least 6 storage owners, if not more. And if you subscribe to my school of thought that every storage owner you speak to should get an offer, you could potentially, before the day is up on Tuesday, you could have already sent 5, 6 offers. Okay, think about what position that may put you in. Wednesday, you want to deep dive on the ones that have some potential, right? At this point, if you've already had these meaningful conversations, despite what a seller may tell you, I always like to present 2 to 3 different offers. One could be, hey, here's a potential cash offer, here's a bank offer, here's a seller finance offer. There could also be a hybrid in between. You want to reconnect with brokers and owners, continue to build those relationships. You want to prepare letters of intent, what we call LOIs. Thursday, submit an LOI. Talk to a lender or an equity partner, right? Start preparing your direct mail list. When I first got started in storage, what I would do is I would add 25 facilities to my list every single day. And then at the end of the week, on Fridays or Saturdays, I would get out those 100 to 150 letters. So every week I was sending roughly 100 to 150 letters. And that's how I've gotten 2 storage facilities. One of which I ended up wholesaling was through my direct mail campaigns. All right. Now Friday, I just touched on it. Send 20 to 25 letters or more if you've been adding 25 to your list. Follow up with the warm leads. Continue to connect, collaborate with wholesalers or private lenders. We haven't even talked about that, but inside the Storage Wins Facebook group, we have people that are wholesaling storage facilities. Inside of our, if you happen to be one of our private members inside of our Storage Wins community, we have deal flow. We have members in there that are wholesaling deals inside the community first. Re-engage with ghosted sellers. I love to send the 9-word email from Dean Jackson, very, very sharp, smart marketer, that if you Google the 9-word email, it's basically, are you still interested in blank? Insert, are you still interested in selling your facility? Question mark, nothing else. You're not putting dear first name. You're not signing off sincerely your name. It's just a very simple subject line. Could be the word curious, ... or hey, email, are you still interested in selling your storage facility? That campaign will re-engage a lot of ghosted sellers. And then finally, Saturday, I want you to review your week. What went well? What didn't go well that you can learn from? What do you need to improve on moving forward? What are some of the time wasters where you were inefficient? Did you find yourself scrolling on social media too much? Did you find yourself like jammed up in your email inbox, or were you Netflixing and chilling, right? Too much. Like what held you up? What got in the way of your goals, your dreams, your vision? Remember why you got started in storage and what you wanted to do for you. So identify what worked, what didn't work, and then recommit to your 3 key moves for the next week. One thing that has served me well, and if I'm being honest, I don't always do this, but on Sundays, I want to set an intention for the week. What is the theme of the week? What do I want this week to be about? And it can be progress and momentum in a certain part of your life, in a certain part of your business. Maybe you set an intention that you've been struggling analyzing deals and you say, hey, the intention for this week is analyzing and underwriting storage deals. And I'm going to commit to 1 per day and I'll have 6 by the end of Saturday. And that is your intention. Okay. So Sunday, relax, reflect, just continue to express gratitude about the fact that you're listening to this podcast, the fact that you are pursuing your goals through storage. That already tells me you are blessed beyond what most people in this world are fortunate enough to be blessed with. Okay, so you have so many things working for you. The question is, are you aware and are you expressing that gratitude? So if you were to add that all up, you're talking about 8 to 10 hours a week. Totally doable, even with a packed schedule. But I'm not going to lie to you. It's going to require, you first have to decide, you have to commit, you have to operate with focus and intentionality. And you got to get after it, because it's not just going to land in your lap. It's not going to just be given to you, but you have to go out and get it. And for the smart ones, they plug into the right community. They surround themselves with the right people that can support them when things get challenging, because things will get challenging. Don't expect everything to just be like peaches, rainbows, and unicorns, because like you're going to be met with resistance. You're going to get kicked in the stomach. You're going to fall down. Hopefully you have somebody there that's willing to just extend an arm and lift you up and pick you up. And that's one of the reasons I'm so proud of just the Storage Wins community, the people we have, the culture, because of how giving everybody is and how you can literally pick up the phone, send a text, you can call them, you can call our Storage Wins ambassadors, you plug in weekly. I mean, it's just an awesome community. So you got to find your tribe. And I would invite you to have a conversation to find out more about the Storage Wins community if you just go to storagewins.com. But let me address now, I think I want to put kind of a bow around this whole episode now. Belief is the real problem. It's not time. Let me elaborate and kind of share what I mean here. The biggest block is not your calendar. It's your belief that you can't do this unless you go all in, right? So let me just tell you, like every deal I've done, every single student client that I've coached, every win we've stacked in the Storage Wins community started with people taking massive imperfect action with part-time hours. There's only 1, maybe 2 people I can think of, I think just 1 really, that is devoting most of their time and energy to storage Pretty much everybody else has a real estate business on the residential side, or they're a W-2 warrior. They have a job that's demanding. Most people in our community have families and kids. So if they can do this, you can do this. You don't need more time. You need more focus. And sometimes you have to borrow someone else's belief in you until you can start believing in yourself. So I want to give you my confidence and my belief that you can do this, okay? Borrow my belief in your ability to do this. So let me just share with you a couple of quick stories. These are real people, real wins. Casey McKillop, somebody who I got to meet through my good friend Trevor Mock, where I attended a carrot camp, I don't know, about a year and a half, couple years ago at this point, whatever it was. And I spoke to his community about self-storage and the opportunity. And I remember Casey and I, we went out, they took us out into like the woods in Roseburg, Oregon. And we were doing this trail, this hike, and Casey and I just started walking and talking, and he was asking me questions about storage, and he was telling me that he had a couple of single family rentals. And I remember asking him like, hey, what is your return on equity on those rentals? Meaning, relative to the amount of net positive cash flow those rentals are giving you and the amount of equity that you have in that facility, in the rentals, what is your return on equity, right? Cash flow divided by the equity you have if you were to sell or liquidate those assets. And he's like, man, I don't know. I've never thought of that. So I quickly ran the math with him, and it was like 3 or 4%. And so I said, do you think you could earn more than 3 or 4% putting that into another asset or asset class? And he's like, absolutely, 100%. So we started talking about storage, and I ended up having a conversation with him. He ends up joining our community. This was I think this was in June. Well, he ended up selling his 2 rentals. He unlocked some of that equity. 91 days later, 91 days after he joined our coaching community, while he was on the way to go hunting, driving for dollars, he came across a storage facility. He ended up locating, doing some research, they didn't even have a sign, finding the storage owner's information, and he was able to structure seller financing on his first deal. 6 months later, he closes on his second deal, same exact thing, driving for dollars. He structured seller financing. 2 months after that, he finds his third deal, same exact thing, driving for dollars. So at this point, he hasn't spent any money on marketing. It's just driving for dollars. He picks up the phone. He has meaningful conversations. 11 months, 3 deals, all seller financed, all driving for dollars. Kate, someone else who, from the moment she joined their community, 7 months later, she closed on her first deal, no money out of her pocket. She partnered with 2 other storage winners in our community who funded the 25 or 30% down payment. She found the deal. By the way, the deal came from another Storage Wins member as well who wholesaled it to her. And now she's the operator. Solid deal. Got it at a great price. Mario's another example who just recently closed on a storage facility after just recommitting, hitting the reset button. So look, these are regular everyday people that just decided, committed, and put the work in. Okay, they focused a couple of hours a day. They leaned into the community. They asked questions. They built relationships. They had meaningful conversations, and they didn't wait until for life to be perfect, or for the stars to align, or for life to slow down. They committed to the process, even with a busy, packed schedule. And so can you. So here's my challenge for you. If you've been sitting on the sidelines thinking, look, Alex, someday, right? You keep putting it off. Like, when I have more time, let me tell you this with some tough love. Someday is not a day of the week. Okay? It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not someday. Someday's never going to come. The truth is that you can talk about it or you can be about it. You can build cash flow. You can create freedom. You can buy your first storage facility in the next 6 to 12 months. You just need the right roadmap, the right game plan, the belief, and the right community. So if you want help with that, go to storagewins.com. Let's see if we can map out a step-by-step plan, get you plugged into the community. If you're the right fit, it's certainly not for everybody. and get your first deal locked up, even if you're just putting in a couple of hours a day. So thanks for hanging out with me today. Remember, this isn't about doing everything. It's about doing what matters consistently, right? It's about stacking the micro wins. It's about getting clear on the plan and then consistently doing the micro actions that are going to lead you to the macro results, i.e. the macro win, the storage win, pun intended. So let's go out there. Let's stack some wins this week. I believe in you. Now is the time to believe in yourself. So go out, take massive imperfect action, and I will talk to you soon, my friend.